Welcome to DevOps Accents, a podcast on everything around DevOps, public cloud, and cloud-native topics, with your hosts, Pablo, Leo, and Kirill.
Hey, hello, and welcome into another episode of DevOps Accent, a podcast where we, the co-founders of MKDev, get together to discuss all things around DevOps, cloud-native technologies, AI, data, and today we, three of us, as usual, hi Pablo, hi Kirill.
Hello. Hi Leo.
Let's kick things off with a big thank you to the sponsor of today's episode, us. MKDF is sponsoring today's episodes because we've mastered the art of talking to ourselves. Joke aside, MKDF isn't just about sponsoring podcasts. We are a team of, a team of DevOps experts who eat, sleep, and breathe cloud-native technologies, whether it's Kubernetes, Terraform, or creating fully automated cloud environments. Here's the best part. Since we are sponsoring ourselves today, MKDev offers you a deal. Use the promo code, made up code for a 0% discount at checkout because let's face it, our expertise is worth every penny. So whether you need to streamline our CI/CD pipelines or you're looking for some stellar platform strategy that scales, MKDev is here. Check out us at mkdev.me, our website. Give us a call. We make magic happen, and we're pretty good at it. Okay, now that we've got that top-tier self-sponsor out of the way, let's jump into today's episode.
DevOps and AI, don't forget.
Yeah, DevOps and AI, of course.
Actually, can I do an announcement? Because I think when the episode will be out, the article will be already out. So go and check out a new article from our head of AI, Paul Larson, about using vector database and relational databases, and what are the differences and which one is applicable for which AI use case. It's like a really in-depth, huge, magnificent piece of content he wrote that everyone will benefit from.
Yeah, thank you, Kirill, for this very important note. We will make sure to have the link to the article in the description. Read it and send us your questions in the comments, and we will forward all the questions to Paul and get them answered during the next podcast episode. So don't forget to subscribe to not miss more insights. And another thing that is worth discussing is your recent video, Pablo, where you talk about Broadcom butchering VMware. Is this the right word? By the way, if you want to see it, I advise you to do so before listening to the episode and then get back to this episode. And for those who are not aware of what happened, so Broadcom acquired VMware and abolished the perpetual subscription model. It all started back in May 2022 with the announcement, which was a major shakeup in the tech industry, given Broadcom's controversial history of acquisition. After purchasing Symantec for $10 billion in 2019 and CA Technologies for almost $19 billion in 2018, Broadcom had established a reputation for buying companies and then aggressively cutting costs, often at the expense of product innovation and customer support. So naturally, users feared that under Broadcom's control, VMware might suffer the same fate of Broadcom's previous acquisitions, reduction in staff, discontinuation of products, draining the innovation out of them, and a shift in business strategy that might prioritize profits over user needs. And this is what we are starting to see now, almost 2 years after the acquisition, especially the shift from perpetual to subscription license for VMware products. So Pablo, why is this a big deal?
Let's start the history again. Not from the end. Let's start from the beginning. It's what you were telling. This is one of the deals that first need to have the authorization for many organizations. First, it was the USA who has to authorize that. it was China who has to authorize that, and it was the European Commission who did the same. And the reason because of that is because many people is using VMware these days, and not only in USA, people is using VMware in Europe, and people is using VMware in China and many other places. And the problem was that, you can buy a company, but you cannot destroy a company if many people is using this company. And the problem is that there are many, many, many people using this company. Imagine only the case that there were, and I say were because currently there is only 1,000, there were 28,000 partners of VMware in the world. So it's a huge number of partners. So all these 28,000 companies were selling VMware products around the world. So, and at the end, okay, you can say Broadcom bought this company. That's okay. Everything is going to be in the same way. But the problem is that the CEO of Broadcom and the board, they decided, okay, this is not working in the way that we want to work, and we need to change the strategy. Because normally when you buy a company, it's not because you say, okay, always you say, I am smarter than the one who was there before, and I'm going to change everything. And the way that they wanted to change that it was, we're going to change the way that VMware is working, because we don't want to use all this kind of license and all this, because there were almost 200 different type of products, and we need to reduce everything to a minimum level, 2 or 3 kind of products, and we even are going to change the license. And this is where the problem comes, because there is a number of companies who, both time ago or even this year or last year, they bought this perpetual license. And what does mean? A perpetual license means that while I am using VMware, I'm going to have the license for this product, and this is going to be for perpetuity. And then, for example, imagine if you are a school, university, a company, and then you have VMware machines, and you are using this product in your on-prem machines, or you're using VMware on cloud or whatever way, you are always going to pay the same fee. The fee of the license is always more or less the same with an increase, but nothing like that. Nothing is going to change, and you're going to get the updates of the security updates and 0 days updates and every kind of updates of the product. And there were many companies who bought that. Now the problem is that because Broadcom, they don't want to have all these products that they had before, and because Broadcom, what they want to do is they want to change mostly to be the provider of the private clouds. So they don't want to have this perpetual license and many others. And then what they said, okay, we are going to end all the perpetuity licenses. And they receive everyone with this license. They receive an email with only 6 weeks to tell to them, okay, your perpetuity license is not anymore valid. So what I don't know if it's legal or it's not legal. This is out of my scope. And then now what you are going to have is a new kind of license. And for example, there were many organizations like universities and non-profit organizations that were telling that the price of the license was increased 3 and even 4 times in 6 weeks. So the amount of money that you need to pay was that. And now is, okay, if you don't want to come with us to this chain of license, because you want to go to trail or whatever thing, it's okay, but we are not going to offer to you any kind of patch, any kind of security update, and only we're going to offer to you the 0 dates of the 0 dates patches in case that someone appear. That's all. So it's like, okay, you're alone in the dark, and this is the main problem. That everything is working in one way. The company bought VMware, and now everything changed.
From what I understand, when it comes to costs, the reason why the price increased is because they historically VMware had many different products, and so after Broadcom acquisition, they decided to consolidate those products into more streamlined offering. And because your product offers more, the price goes higher. At least this is how I understand that. And in tech, no solution is ever cheap enough. Like every vendor solution is often seen as too costly, and the notion that consolidating VMware's offering will inherently lead to price gouging is, I think, oversimplification. But I didn't use VMware tools. Is that like a correct assumption, or these streamlined products they are artificially inflated, and many companies, especially that non-profit companies, just do not need the services that the new products are offering?
The problem is that they have you have an infrastructure that you create around a license, and you create everything around this license. Because imagine that you are a company who are offering seconds of computing in your machines, and you are using VMware for these people, and the people can go to these machines and use time of the computation of these VMware machines. And you are creating with vSphere, with whatever tooling, you're creating different virtual machines for these different customers. So at the end, this is the infra that you already created. Now, if they want to change you the license, you need to choose if you want to have this new product or not. So the point is that you are the person who need to decide. Imagine to go to a simple example. Imagine that you have I don't know, Netflix, and you pay €5 or €10 or $10 for your Netflix subscription. And now they're telling to you, but okay, now Netflix is going to cost $50 because it's going to come Netflix with Disney Channel and HBO. And you say, okay, but I don't want to pay 50. I only want to have $10 because I want to have only Netflix. I don't want to have anything else. No, sorry. And even you have a perpetuity license, and then now it's not going to be 10, it's going to be 50. But it's going to be super cool. Yes, but I don't like that. And this is the problem, because these companies create all the infra around this license because they pay something and they know what is the limits, and now they want to change everything. And the problem is that normally how these things works is okay, it's not the first and unique case, but normally is that, okay, these licenses are living in parallel while the new license are living in the other way. But they want to cut that. They don't want to have two live lines. They only want to have one. This is the new way. If you want, okay. If you don't want, sorry, fuck you. But this is and this is the problem here in this case.
And this change will affect mostly smaller companies,
Big companies,
non-profit companies.
No, this will affect every.
Do you think it will affect big companies? Because I'm sorry, because from what I think, like VMware is not going anywhere. It will stay. It was a paid product for larger enterprises, and now that they do not have, I mean large enterprises, they do not have like a better alternative, and they do not know that, they do not need that, giving VMware's market dominance, they will stick to the product they use, and the only clients who were affected are smaller companies who don't want to.
I think for smaller companies it's less of a problem, because what means smaller companies is that they maybe have like 3 VMware hosts. So then the license cost is not in millions, it's maybe like in thousands. So then if it costs 3 times more, it hurts, but it's not this big amount of money. What I saw in the news a couple of weeks ago, and I actually had to cut it out of my last episode of MK News, is that there is a European organization, like a council or a group of data center vendors in EU, that collectively said, like, cannot go this way with VMware because this price increase is crazy. Because imagine you're offering virtual servers to your customers, and your whole data center, thousands of servers and machines, is based on VMware. So now this license change will increase your operating costs like by millions in every month. And the problem is not only for you, because okay, you're reselling the compute capacity to others because you're a data center hoster. But now if for you to run, let's say, a virtual machine costs, instead of $3 per month, it costs $10 per month, you will increase the prices for all of your customers, which means every single...
I heard in some cases it increased 10 times, like instead of $3.
Yes, and in the end,
$30.
And in the end, the only thing you can do, except going to open a legal case, is that you also increase the prices for all of your customers of your data center. So then, if you have 200 companies of startups and mid-sized companies, scale-ups using your data center, now for each of these companies, the costs also increased. So it's like this domino effect. because the foundational compute layer became more expensive because of this software license change.
You need to think that there are many companies that they're in the cloud. What they are using is a hybrid mode, and some of the loads are moving out of the compute engine. So they're, for example, in AWS EC2 or GCE, out of those, and they go to themes like, for example, Nutanix or VMware, because the computation there could be cheaper. So they execute computation there in these machines. And now you have all the infra. Everything they have is created around that, and you have a product, a SaaS, or everything, and you're working in this way, as Kirill was telling. And now they're telling you have 6 weeks, because the price that before it was what Kirill is telling, $10 per computation. Now it's going to be 10 times. It's going to be 100. Now you say, wow, I need to move back to the expensive cloud provider, because this is going to be now even cheaper, but I have only 6 weeks. I have no time to do this migration. So the only thing that I can do is I have to pay a 1 year license 10 times bigger than the one. And during this year, I will try to move everything back. And during this time, I will have to pay the expensive cloud provider plus the mega expensive VMware. And only with 6 weeks. And this is crazy.
Unless, of course, you hire MKDev to help you to move to the cloud from your VMware.
This is good movement, Kirill. Very good movement. If this is my case, I would do that.
For me, it's great because there are so many discussions. Usually, like Pablo will understand this, when you use the cloud, and there are people, engineers, who are like, oh, we want to avoid vendor lock-in. Like, you don't want to depend on AWS. And then often the alternative to vendor lock-in is that you also have, like, let's say, a data center with open source Kubernetes, all this CNCF stack running there, all the open source tools, you're completely vendor agnostic. And then your own data center is on VMware. So then all of these companies will now meet this ultimate vendor lock-in, because what do you do now? Your whole infra is on VMware, and they just can decide the cost will be 10 times.
I wanted to ask, like, from what I understand, the alternatives are exist, both open source and paid. What are the next for VMware users? What is next for them? Like, should they switch to alternatives?
Sorry, there's only one point here in that, about the alternatives, because one of the thing in this dialogue that the community is talking about that a lot is that, okay, everyone knows that this is a very bad movement. No, you are the evil, you are a very bad person, and nobody's going to follow you. But the problem is that they talk with Google, and Google says, okay, I have VMware in Google Cloud. If you want to change the license, this is not my problem. And now in Google, you have a button to click to change automatically the license from the perpetual license that you had previously in Google Cloud, now to automatically be a scam. And you had to pay 10 times more, because at the end, Google has a fee on top of this price, and it's good for them. But this is crazy, because you can do now the migration in Google. It's not the same yet in AWS.
Yeah, because I know why Google does this, I think, because AWS did the opposite. They said, like, fuck VMware, more or less.
Exactly.
Because Google, they had this, one of the strategies for Google to get people on Google Cloud is they offer this VMware layer, and then you can do this shift and lift migrations, that you have, you're a bank or some whatever organization with everything on VMware, and you can just migrate your on-prem to the cloud, but not really. You just run VMware on Google Cloud. And I think Google has way more customers like this. And for them, sure, they have to adapt. And what Amazon did, they just said, migrate to EC2. So, because Amazon has, like, it's called AWS VMware service, something like this. So again, they have like parts of the data centers running on VMware. So if you want, you can run on top of VMware instead of EC2, which is used to be Xen based, but now it's like completely self-grown solution from Amazon. And now Amazon just says, like, don't use our VMware things, just move to EC2 and use our proper cloud services.
I wonder, was it like predictable for the Broadcom when they announced the changes? Did they expect that major companies like AWS will just shrug and, okay, whatever, don't use it?
I think yes. I mean, they don't. For them, it's not a good deal that you have. In my opinion, it's not good for VMware and Broadcom if you have this VMware inside AWS, because the first thing Amazon will try to do is to push you off this VMware layer and towards AWS native services. So they maybe, like, don't really care if Amazon decides to stop offering VMware.
But in most of the cases, the way that this is working is that you have your own data center with your VMware machines, and then you have an interconnection between VMware in your data center or external third-party data center, and then you have your cloud provider, and you have an interconnection between those two. The thing is that those two, what they are doing is they are, injecting all these VMware vSphere consoles inside your Google Cloud or your AWS, and then you can control and manage everything from one unique place, and you don't need to go to all these vSphere center and all these places to control all the VMware. But at the end, about your question, Leo, no, nobody was. So they know that it's the same. They have captive customers. The problem is that are physical customers and physical machines, and the problem is that you cannot do a migration in 2 months. So to move to Nutanix or any other company, you need time. And if I tell to you, now you have to pay 10 times more, for sure that you're going to pay 10 times more, because there is no other way. So the second option is I close the company. So, and I don't think that anyone wants to close the company. So the problem is that. And now the second problem is what Kirill was telling before, what the European Commission is going to say. Because if the European Commission said this is not legal, sound, in my opinion, not legal, but okay, again, I am not a lawyer person. So if this is not legal and they lost the case, they need to get back again to the previous prices, at least with this perpetuity license, and they need to offer the same that it was in the agreement, in the initial agreement, because you sign a contract for 50 years, imagine. I signed a contract for 50 years. It's like if you're living in your house and you have a contract for 50 years, and one day the landlord appears and says, okay, it's not 2,000 per month, it's 20,000, and I'm going to paint the house in black. And you say, what? More or less like that.
Mm-hmm. And I remember, like, it's been more than a year between the announcement and the actual acquisition. Like almost 2 years has passed, and during these years, the deal itself was scrutinized by different commissions, European, everybody, like, because this exact concern existed back then, that this might happen, and what they did is they inspected from all the angles to determine if this is even allowed. I don't know how to explain, like if it's a good acquisition or not. And then they allowed this kind of acquisition, and this happened. And after this acquisition happened, the thing that they feared most about it actually happened. They increased prices, they created the dominance, they created the how do you call it, when only one company exists and nobody else can compete with them.
Monopoly?
Monopoly. Yeah, they created the monopoly, and that's what was the main fear, and it happened.
But they are not a monopoly. There are many alternatives for VMware. The only problem is that the people who is currently in this provider, they cannot migrate in 2 months. They need time to do this migration.
Yeah, they actually created a trap.
A temporary trap. But if you check, okay, the stock really is not that the people is, you check the stock, the people that has stocks in VMware, okay, because still is VMware is in the stock market, or maybe wrong, because the other day I was checking, I think that they're still not merged yet, the two companies in one stock. VMware is coming up, so it's not going out, so it's not coming down. So the people think that this is a good idea. What this for me is crazy. So, but let me check, because maybe I was wrong and the stock was already merged, but I think it's not yet merged.
Yeah, but I think the last week news about the Boeing stock proves that it kind of market moves in mysterious ways.
No, sorry. Forget my last point, because it was closed in November. Yes. So then forget what I was telling about the stock.
Yeah. But I still can imagine investors might be happy with this decision.
Yeah, like they're happy with the dead whistleblower of Boeing. Doesn't mean that company is gonna be doing well in the next 5 years.
You never know, man. At the end, it's a company. You care about money, not about people.
Now they have 10 more people to take care of.
Do you think your project infrastructure is well set and maintained? We know for sure there is always room for improvement. If you are uncertain where to begin, let's first do an audit of what you already have. We will review your setup from every angle: performance, cost, security, high availability, and automation, and provide you with a detailed roadmap of which direction your infrastructure should go, generate concrete tasks for you to implement, or even take on your infra entirely, if you let us, of course.
All right. Another company that didn't had a great week was Stack Overflow. Just recently, they announced a partnership with OpenAI, a move that stirred quite a bit of controversy. Essentially, what happened, Stack Overflow is now allowing OpenAI to train its AI model using the vast trove of user-created, user-generated content on their platform. And this decision was made without seeking explicit permission from its user base, which unsurprisingly didn't go well with many. And in response, users began deleting their contributions, and this, on the other side, led to a wave of bans from Stack Overflows for those trying to prevent their data from being used to train AI models. So it's a funny situation. On one hand, Stack Overflow is banning the use of AI-generated content like ChatGPT, and they announced it, I don't know, like a year or so ago. They banned AI-generated content in replies because they wanted to keep Stack Overflow a genuine and real, so that only real users put the replies. And on the other hand, they are feeding the existing user data into OpenAI's model to train it. So this creates interesting dichotomy, or how do you say it?
Dichotomy, yeah.
Yeah. So the core of this issue is Stack Overflow's new, like the business strategy. So what do you think?
You know what I just realized? I don't get why people are so upset about this partnership, because 1 month ago, Stack Overflow announced exactly the same partnership with Google.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly the same thing. We talked about it on one of the MK News episodes, and now the same thing with OpenAI, and people are like, oh no, that's bad. And Google was good. It's like one of the worst companies in terms of handling user data signed the same deal 1 month ago, no response. And now I think it makes sense that Stack Overflow doesn't allow to use AI to answer questions, because the problem with AI is that, or one of the problems in the next couple of years, is that companies are going to run out of training data, because you need to improve models. You also need constantly providing training data. And then if the internet becomes more and more AI generated, then it makes no sense. You will train GPT-4 on answers from GPT-4. Well, that's really a real issue. And then on Stack Overflow, imagine from 1 year from now, half of the responses are generated by OpenAI. So then OpenAI uses OpenAI to train the next, like, GPT-5. It's going to be garbage, because the training data won't be good anymore. So I think it's a good move that it's only real user responses on Stack Overflow, and then this data is used for training. I think it's a good, technology-wise, it's a good way forward, because otherwise it just makes no sense if you train on AI-generated content, which some models do, but it's not effective for all cases.
We need to think that the Stack Overflow was created as a tool because Google was not good answering some kind of question. Because when you have a technical question, normally when you go to Google was pointing you to a blog and not to the direct answer. And then the good thing with Stack Overflow is everyone was able to go there and write an answer or make a question. And then the people was working super cool. And I don't know how many millions of times I check Stack Overflow. But what happened since 1 year? All of us we know. ChatGPT appeared. And then the problem with the Stack Overflow is that the people who is using Stack Overflow is day by day less and less and less, because there are more and more people who is using tools like ChatGPT, code generators tools, and things like that. And then day by day, Stack Overflow is used less, and this is a problem for them. So then at the end, you need to find a way to get money, because if there are no people visiting your web, and then the advertisement are not clicking enough, then you don't get enough money to pay the employees, but you need to get money to pay the employees. And okay, if you need to talk with Satanas, and then you need to talk with the person who made the problem, if this is the way to solve the problem with your employees, and in this way you can pay the salaries to all these families, I think it's a good idea. So at the end, I think it's a very good movement. It's a clever movement.
Yeah, but from how I see, like this partnership has like a broader implications. Over the years, AI companies, including OpenAI, they have utilized publicly available data from platforms like Stack Overflow to train their own models, and often without direct compensation. Like, I mean, probably never. They didn't compensate anyone. And Stack Overflow has now started charging these AI companies for accessing their data. And this shift hints at a possible, desperation to try to monetize assets, while the traffic of Stack Overflow is declining and traffic to GitLab is increasing, according to recent data that I saw. And I can imagine like there was there was a discussion between CEO of Stack Overflow and CEO of OpenAI where they discussed a bargain where they use this data of Stack Overflow as like for pushing for financial agreement to compensate for the extensive use of their data and their resources that were generated over the years. What I think, like what it means for future of Stack Overflow and similar platforms. Should they and should we be prepared for the fact that the platforms like these will be adapting to the new AI-driven ecosystems, or it's a sign of declining relevance?
You join to the new wave, or you're going to die. So you need to remember, Coca-Cola was with cocaine inside. So now nobody can imagine Coca-Cola with cocaine inside.
Lots of people
I don't know
imagine
why,
this.
but okay. So imagine a kid party with cocaine. Yes, all the kids in a party, in a birthday party, drinking Coca-Cola. So of course that if you don't move at the speed of the times, you're going to die. But not this company, every company. And if everything is changing, you need to change, and you need to adapt. And you need to see, okay, what is happening? Hey, now it's everything like AI. And I was a company who was living because Google was there. Because without Google, Stack Overflow wasn't anything. And they adapt to Google. And now they need to adapt to this new movement, for sure. It didn't do that. They will disappear in 1 year or two. That's it.
How would you adapt in this case? Because Stack Overflow is a community. Right, it's a community-generated content, and it's only valuable because it's the content there is generated and the answers provided from the experts like us, and it's a living and breathing organism. And now that a company, a bigger corporation, is trying to sell their generated data, the content that they created, they invested their own knowledge into creating their content, and now companies selling what they created, even though they didn't get compensated before. They created all this content as a free will, as I don't know, in an attempt to train a better generation of experts, of developers, and they were contributing to Stack Overflow willingly. But now, suddenly, when they knew that Stack Overflow is selling this data to another company to train, what happened? Why all of a sudden you concerned about this and you started to delete your own content that you created just to prevent the company to make money on it? Is it greed?
First thing, sorry, Stack Overflow is not a community; it's a company. It was 800 employees in February 2023, and now it's 650. So it's a company with hundreds of employees. So
it's a company that relies
this is
on
different,
a community created.
But this is different. It's not a community. It's a company that uses the knowledge of the people to create content and to make advertisement inside the page. And this is the way that they're living.
I think in this case, it's again problem. I don't want to say that people who started deleting their own content are stupid, but in the end, you have this. That's how internet works. Like you intentionally gave your content to some platform. It's the reason why, for example, you should not use Medium as the only place where you post your articles, because then it belongs to another platform. So you always should have your own website where you post stuff, and then maybe you cross-post to other direction. In this case, people gave good answers for free, free willingly, and now they upset that the answer will be used to build the next generation of better tools to help developers, which to me is a bit ridiculous, right? The original reason lots of people posted on Stack Overflow is they want to help other people, and then they also want to, because it's also good for your CV, but primarily it's good for just to help other people. And now there's like new generation of tools that will be even better at helping other people, and now they don't want this content to be used for this purpose, which to me makes no sense, right? If you wanted to own the content that you posted, don't post it on a platform owned by another company in the first place. Just buy a domain, start a WordPress, and post there. Google will still discover it, and then will still index it for the AI usage. And if you wanted to help people with your answers, it will be even better now, because instead of people going to Google and asking how do I fix this error and going to Stack Overflow, AI companion will instantly help to solve this issue. So you reduce the time to solve the problem from like 20 minutes to 5 minutes.
But many people write in Stack Overflow because they want to have stars. They want to increase the seniority. They want to be a superstar in the Stack Overflow, because many people love this dopamine that they receive as soon as the people says, okay, you're very good. So at the end, we don't need to see only Stack Overflow like a company who is giving questions and answers. Is a place who is giving dopamine to many people who wants to receive dopamine, because it's like Instagram or I make TikTok. I make a post, and I like people who like what I do, because I love to be loved.
Yeah, exactly. I can relate to that.
Just like on these platforms, no one cares. Like Instagram does not care about any influencer with like few million subscribers. They can just ban anyone because in the end, 1.5 billion people use Instagram. Billions of people use TikTok. So you need to always remember that if you use someone else's platform, they can do whatever they want with your content and with your profile.
Exactly.
So there is no, like what happened to Donald Trump on Twitter, where just like kicked out. So it's the same here. You just need to realize from the day one that whatever you post, it's not yours anymore on this kind of platform.
But okay, you see later, Elon Musk bought Twitter only to give the account again to Elon Musk.
Maybe Elon Musk will buy Stack Overflow.
Maybe it's not, because you never know.
Yeah, something similar happened to me. I remember like there was a platform question. I know. I mean, it's analog to Quora, and it was a curated platform where people could ask whatever questions, and other experts who were verified, they were providing the educated answers, and the platform was curated. It was like a cool community. And what exactly I have I experienced it exactly what you, Pablo, said. Like you have your portion of dopamine from providing a cool answer, an extended reply to whatever people are wondering about, and you have got comments, you got likes, and you see your content being shared across the web and generating likes for somebody else. And it was a nice experience. But then this company was sold to a Yandex, a search engine platform, and they started to use this user-generated content in this questions and answers to provide relevant answers to whatever user is searching on the web. So instead of providing you the pages, they give you the one of the answers from these platforms. And I felt bitter when this happened because I didn't want my content to be used like that. And at some point, I realized, like, why would I care? Because I created this content just exactly for that. And now I feel bitterness because someone decided to actually put this content into a use.
So there was a quote about Elon Musk, is that Elon Musk really wants to save the world as long as he is the person who saves the world.
Very good one. I love this one.
yeah, exactly. This is this what happens. And I'm still just keep asking what will happen in the future. What should we be ready for? Like, and who will benefit from what's happening? Like, because now AI been trained on all the content that we created in the past, and now AI is able to provide a similar quality replies, advices that we would create, essentially discarding all our achievements. And like we are returning, getting back to a starting point. And now what? Now we have to provide even better advices to outperform AI, or maybe we need to generate only relevant content that is applicable to modern issues, modern tools, things that is happening, and just forget about everything that was in the past, that happened in the past, because AI took all our history on the internet. Like, what's next?
But yes, it's so strange. But okay, backing again to the point of Stack Overflow, we need to remember, and only to close that if you want, that the Stack Overflow really is a company who is selling information to people. And there are two kinds of people. It's like in Instagram and TikTok, there are creators who create videos, and there are consumers. And as a consumer of a Stack Overflow, I don't care who wrote that. Really, I don't care if it was Peter Magnussen or Leo Kirill. I don't care. I only want to have the answer. I go to Stack Overflow, I make a question, I get the answer, I use the answer, see you, bye-bye. And this is the common user of that. And the problem with Stack Overflow is that Stack Overflow is going to disappear. If not in 1 year, in 2 years, in 3 years, because as soon as these AI toolings are going to get the control of everything, the people, if you have a tool that you can go and says, okay, I have a problem because I want to connect from this place to another, blah, 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 you express the complete case. The problem with the Stack Overflow is that you need to go and open different cases or different questions until you find out. If in 2 years there is an AI that is able to, as soon as you express your case, even you make a diagram, you put a photo, you put whatever, and it's giving to you the answer, why you're going to use Stack Overflow? So in the way that the Stack Overflow is working is something from 20, 30 years ago. It's a post. So there is a problem, I put test. And that's all, And the way that the AI is working in these LLMs is completely different, because you express all the problems and then he gives to you the particular answer for your particular problem. So, and for sure that this is 10 times better, or 1,000 millions better than the Stack Overflow. And for that reason, or you change and you move to a new way, or as a tooling that it's like these companies that it was making summaries of books.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very good idea. I don't want to read the book. or I need read a quick summary of this book. There are people who is reading books and making summaries of books, or for many reasons. Now we're talking last podcast because Kirill was telling this new Gemini AI, new the LLM model that you can put 1 billion of tokens, you can put one book, and in few seconds you have the summary of the book.
It's a good example because I think all the services like Blinkist and all the summarizers of books sound good, but no one ever learned anything good from this kind of summaries. Because if you have a 400 pages book and it's a good book, you cannot really compress it to 200 words, which makes no sense. Yes, you got the idea that this book is about this topic, but if you actually wanted to learn something, you need to read the book. And same with the Stack Overflow, because right now, at least the answers I get from GPT-4 and similar tools are just not deep and good enough.
Exactly.
A couple of days ago, I was trying to filter out, for MKDev, I was trying to filter out health checks from the logs, and I asked GPT, and it gave me a complete garbage answer without considering any context of my application, which is okay, because that's also what people do when they give answers. But there is also no attempts from other people or other AIs to kind of argue with the first answer. Because what I do with Stack Overflow really often is I read the correct answer, but I also read all the comments, because one guy, this correct answer says like, you should do it like this. And then another guy says like, yes, but if you're using this technology, the solution from this guy is stupid, then you should do it this way. So this whole discussion part with very many different opinions of people with different experiences, tech stacks, we'll miss it in these AI-generated answers for now.
For now, this is the point. You're completely right. From now, because today, I am with you. But I was telling that imagine 2 years or 3 years, I have to imagine in the speed of the evolution that it's not going to be like that. But today, you're right. But many times, I don't know how many hours I spend in trying to find the solution for one problem and opening one chat and blog, and blah, blah, blah. And if you can reduce and compress this 4 hours or 5 hours or 2 days in 30 seconds writing something and a real answer from my problem, not today, in 2 or 3 years. Come on, I don't want to have Stack Overflow anymore.
Yes, but in order for that to make a reality, you need to rely on the content. You need to keep training language models.
I think not only.
What will be the basis to train the model if all the users, for example, getting back to Stack Overflow, if they opt out from generating this content, if they are unhappy with how companies are treating their content, they don't get paid, and they know that someone else is making money on what you are creating and what they created, and they do not want to do this anymore. And they stop doing this.
I think it's not only about the data. Like, data is important, especially unique data, but we also need to make AI be able to sync, because right now it's not syncing. There is no AGI. So whichever answer it gives, I had many cases when I ask GPT for some recommendation, it gives me an answer. And I was like, okay, I could probably implement it this way. I go to Stack Overflow, and the guy just gives like one-liner solution to my problem, which makes total sense and makes use of the latest features in some programming library. And then, the GPT, it has lots of data, and then it tries to, in the end, guess the answer. And no matter how much data you pump into it, the current LLMs, they are not able to really think through it.
You already value the human-generated content over AI-generated content. And I think that this is the way how the companies should do this, especially the companies like Stack Overflow. They should not mess with AI. Instead, they should make people contribute and generate relevant content that people like us could use instead of.
AI companies should build a proper AGI, and then you don't need to rely on humans that much. That's also what the Sam Altman, our savior, wants to do, like burn 50 billion per year to achieve AGI. Once you have AGI that is capable of actually reasoning really well and seeing the issue, and then, okay, I will now go and through the source code of the library that you use, find the issue, and based on everything I saw, build a solution for this. That's way better than just hoping that someone will write an answer on Stack Overflow because this person wants a dopamine.
But I still wonder how this will end for the company and with this wave of bans, because what Stack Overflow is doing, they're essentially messing up with the community who is generating them, their cash flow. And this reminded me another example that happened last week and this week as well in the gaming community when there is a game Helldivers 2, and in order to play this game you need to have a registered account on Steam. And when the game was released, it's required you to have an third-party account as well on PlayStation Network, but it was optional because the developers encountered some issue tied to server loading or whatever, and they made it optional. And they have this note that in some near future, this will be a mandatory that you need to have an external account. And after they after the game was a massive success, billions of users all over the world, everybody liked the game, and all of a sudden, the developers announced that starting this particular date, registering an external account will be a mandatory to keep playing the game. And this was the community went nuts. They didn't want to share the data with PlayStation Network and whatever. And the main part is that PlayStation Network is not available in many countries, and a lot of users will lose their access to the game, even though the countries that where PlayStation Network is not available, those players probably don't know where this country is. It's like a list of smaller countries, and most of them are just colonies. Okay, and what they did, they start posting negative reviews on Steam page, and in a span of 3 days, the reviews for the game went from overwhelmingly positive to overwhelmingly negative, like all-time reviews. And that just dropped the score of the game to the bottom, to the worst game. And Sony, what they did, they backed out and they announced that this is no longer a requirement. Okay, we hear you. This is an optional. If you want have an external account, do this. If you don't want, we will find another way to implement this. And this shows that if you mess with the community, if you do something they do not like, they can organize and just drive your business into oblivion. And I wonder if something similar could happen to Stack Overflow, because when the community is offended, is bitter, they can do a lot of things, especially when they're organized. And I'm not sure if Stack Overflow community will manage to pull this off, because it is a known fact that gaming community, they are more organized, they communicate better, and they can pull off such massive things like this. And they actually, what they did is they make the major corporation, major enterprise like Sony to change their opinion and to find another solution. This is a great example of what community can achieve.
Yes, but at the end, we're back again. So Stack Overflow is not a place for communities. You don't need to think in this way. You need to think that Stack Overflow is Instagram for IT people. So let's think in this way. Don't think in other way, really. Because again, there are 600 people working.
In this case, the issue is that Stack Overflow, the number of people who contribute to Stack Overflow is much less than the number of people posting on Instagram.
Yes, for sure.
So there could be it didn't happen with Twitter, because if we see no one migrated to Mastodon and similar platforms, everyone just stayed on Twitter and added Mastodon link on their profiles. But with Stack Overflow, there are many places similar to Stack Overflow, even if this one is the most popular one, where you can post the answers and tips.
Funny thing, like if something like that would be announced by Elon Musk, like, hey, all your tweets will be used to train my Grok, no one would care. probably. No one would, okay, I have to delete all my tweets. Probably somebody will probably do that. I'll delete all their tweets just to prevent Grok to be trained on their tweets.
Isn't it like already? For me, the confusing part about Stack Overflow thing is that OpenAI and Google already trained everything on Stack Overflow data that they could access publicly, and now they doing this deal because why?
Yeah, they didn't need them in the first place. that probably was just a charity, like a way to compensate. We did this in the past. Okay, don't make a big deal about it. Don't do shit. Like, don't go to a court or whatever. Like make this deal. And
GPT-4 is already trained on all the answers from Stack Overflow, probably. So why the deal now? Just to look better. It's a good thing because we discussed it on many episodes of the podcast before. Is that the tech industry will need to have a way to kind of get permission to use the content people write for training models. But it's kind of in reverse now because it's been probably like 5 years of AI companies training on all of this data, and now let's ask for permission. And now Stack Overflow are the evil guys in this whole situation.
Yeah, exactly. And the last note, like before we wrap the episode up, the funny thing that happened to me on Twitter is how I learned about new iPad. Did you see the presentation? Did you even watch it?
No, not in my case.
So I was scrolling through Twitter and I stumbled upon the new iPad commercial from Apple, and I've been watching it, and I realized like how cool is that? Did you see it? How I saw it? There is a press that is used to squeeze technical parts and whatever, and it goes in reverse and turning iPad into a massive pile of all the different tools that different creators use in order to create art, produce content, instruments, yes, I know, pianos, and all of different tools that just appeared from the press, and it looks cool, and the music was cool, and only then after the commercial went off, and I thought, wait, this is a really cool commercial. Well done, Apple. And then only then I realized that it's not a real commercial. Someone just took a real commercial and put it in reverse. Because in the real commercial, what Apple did, they actually squeezed and destroyed all the tools, all the instruments, and like shrinked into a smaller form, which iPad is. And this was a funny way because first thing I discovered is a commercial that somebody else put in a different way, and then I realized how bitter Twitter was about this new commercial from Apple, because like they're destroying tools, they're destroying what artists value the most, their instruments, their brushes, and that's how I realized that Twitter is angry about
Everything.
new iPad, Apple.
Yes, the people is angry about everything. Hello. Fuck you.
And you see how stupid this point. Like you saw the moment, you saw it in reverse.
Yes, I saw it in reverse.
Which is like iPad expands all the tools, and the original one is that they compress all the tools into iPad. And in reverse is good, but the opposite direction is bad. Like, it's the same thing. It just makes no sense to be angry about original one and be happy about the second one, because the same concept. You can compress all of these things into this new tiny device. And you're like, no, they destroyed everything good we had in our lives.
The way how I saw it in original, like when I saw it, is like you can put so many things into iPad. Like just look at that, and it expands, and then you have all this cool stuff, and that's what make me think, oh yeah, cool, but. But then you just learn that we destroy everything and you will replace it with just an iPad.
Yes.
Soulless machine that replaces your artist's vision. This is a funny example how social media works, and I just wanted to share.
That was for me a big surprise. This whole beta reactions, like what? But you have so many tools in a new device. It's called technological progress. It's like seeing that someone replaces a broom with a robot vacuum cleaner. Like, oh no, broom was so nice and it felt so good to just remove the dust from my floor manually with the broom 200 years ago. Vacuum cleaners suck.
Anyway, let us know what you think about all these controversies that we discussed. If it's a real controversy, should we be mad about it? About VMware or Stack Overflow? Or are you just angry about Apple destroying your tools? Let us know in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe. Give us like. This is very important for us, for YouTube algorithms, especially if you really think that we did good. If you are still listening, it means we did good and we deserve a like. Do it. And don't forget to subscribe to MKDev Dispatch newsletter that every 2 weeks gives you all the news, all the articles, all the videos that we created throughout the weeks in one simple and easy to digest form of email right into your inbox. Thank you for sticking with us today, and I hope to see you in 2 weeks for another episode. Thank you guys for joining me.
See you.
Thank you, Leo.
The cloud tech industry is evolving so fast. Do you keep up with it by improving your skills or upskilling your team? At MKDev, we offer a variety of workshops for just that, from the basics to expert knowledge. Before delivering our workshops and training sessions, we carry out a detailed assessment of each participant. To make sure the workshop is helpful for you and your team, we will add more content to it or throw out what you already know. Or we create a custom workshop specifically for the needs of your team and the specifics of your project.